No one man should have all that power. The clock ticking, I just count the hours. Till then, fuck that, the world's ours. And he say, and he say, oh, what? He say, and they say, 21st century is enjoyed my Colin Powers, Austin. All right, y'all, let me stop. No, look, I have a channel message surrounding the concept of power. Yeah, I'm so goofy. Hold on. No, but I have a channel message surrounding the concept of power. And this channel message actually came about through my own personal conversations with God. And I really sat back for a moment and really asked him, like, I just realized, like, I've never actually came to you to have a better understanding of what it means to have real power, like legitimate power. And I don't think I've ever really sat with the concept of it long enough to understand the difference between fake power and actual real impact, real power, real tangible results. And it's a concept, honestly, that is important right now, right? Because all of us are going through this deep reflective state right now. And this is not just internally, although that is the big bulk of our healing process right now. A lot of reflecting. But this is also collectively. Right now, what's going on in the world has a lot to do with the concept of power, especially in the government. And this is being challenged. This is being judged up to the surface, both on a micro level and a micro level, micro and macro level. Because you have to think about it in terms of like internally, right? What's also coming up in terms of the concept of power is like you're looking at your dynamics in terms of your parents as well. See, there comes a point in your healing journey and even just in growth in general where you can no longer just go on about the usual dynamics in terms of your relationships. Eventually, especially if those relationships are meant to grow with you, there are certain dynamics you're going to grow out of. So right now, you could be going through this triggering process of curiosity, similar to what I've been going through, where it's like you're starting to question, like, what does it mean to have real power, real impact, right? And as I mentioned before, on a micro level, this can look like questioning, like, the authority that you've given other people in your life up until this point. See, it's real interesting. When you're a child, you almost don't have a say-so in it. Whoever is your guardian or your caretaker, you have to trust on you. I mean, you just have to trust or assume that that person has power. Or at the very least, they have the authority to be able to take care of me because I'm not at the mercy. I can't take care of myself right now. But then you grow up. You have your own dynamics, you have your own life, and you start looking at things differently. And this is important, right? Because if you have never learned how to take that authority within yourself, you're still in some way, shape, or form putting that person on a pedestal to where now they have more power than you. And that's an important dynamic to recognize, right? Because you're going out into the world now about to start making your own decisions, big decisions. Like who you want to have as a partner, who you want to have, what you want to do in terms of your career. For some of you guys, this is in regards to your job. You've gone into the career field automatically looking at yourself as less than, and it reflects in the positions that you apply to. You automatically see yourself as less than, so you apply to positions that are less than. Because you see someone else as having more authority than you. They have a certain position of power that you don't perceive yourself to have. But that's now being judged up to the surface and being challenged in a way that is a little bit different than what you're used to, right? What does real power look like? Because you've gone up until this point living your life in such a way that you feel you automatically place yourself as less than, and you automatically give that power as an assumption to someone else. Like, you don't make decisions because you feel like somebody else has more power than you do to make better decisions. Possibly because you've made decisions in the past that you feel like weren't the right steps to take. So now you're kind of like, well, I don't want to do that again. Let me give this power away to somebody else. Or, as I mentioned before, this may be on a micro level. Like, this is the dynamic that you've had in terms of your parents or your family or your childhood. Like, you have not, it's gone so far up into a certain point now where you have no choice but to now bring all of these dynamics up for review. And you're going to look at it from a better perspective, right? Because now that you've done all this healing work, you're going to start to recognize the power that you have within you. Your power, your authority, your God-given power, right? And what that is now also going to bring to the surface is all this false power. People who play like they strong, they got strength, they got real power. This can be, and like I mentioned, this can be as intimate as like family dynamics and the relationships that you have going on intimately around you. And this can be like globally. This is also going to be chin check, like the government is going to be chin checked too. We have automatically, in some way, shape, or form, submitted to the concept of power, especially the older generation of people. It's almost like there's this automatic submission to believe that it's out of our hands. We can't decide this. We don't control this. It's the powers that be. And for some of you guys, you know what I'm getting? It's also in pertaining to the entertainment industry. You are going into this with some preconceived notions on what you believe power is. Have you ever heard the concept, the powers that be? They don't want us in there. They don't want melanin people. And although, yeah, there's some truth to that, you don't necessarily know that because you never actually took the steps to get in there. How are you talking about an industry that you're not even in? But for some reason, you feel drawn to it. So now all of these like power, the concept of power is being jushed up to the surface. For some of you guys, you're being called to politics. You're being called to the entertainment industry. And there's a part of you that feels like, well, it feels larger than you because of how you view yourself, right? So that's why the concept of power is coming up to the surface. And the channeled song was "No one man should have all that power. The clock ticking, I just count the hours. And I turn off the power until the end that the world hours. Hey. You know what? I'm gonna listen to that song because that's my shit. I haven't heard that song in a minute. No, but the song, man. Focus, y'all. Focus. No, but the concept of power is interesting. And even if you listen to the lyrics of that song, it's like, no one man should have all that power. And this could, like I mentioned, this could literally be like between you and how freely you give that title or that authority away. But it's a valid question to ask, man. Like I mentioned, I'm just bringing y'all in on my concept, on my relationship with God and what I'm asking him about. But it's like you're about to learn how to discern the difference between false power, like someone that's going around beating on their chest like, I, and real power, right? And it's because you're about to step into power of your own. So you're going to have no choice but to understand the difference between someone who's braggadocious and trying to make it seem like they have real power and what real power actually looks like, because you're about to step into some like real authority. And it's funny, bro, because once you start to step into that like real deal power and you start making moves, you start looking at people different. You start looking at like how much you counted yourself out before you actually even got into the field, because it's like preconceived notions, what people told you about what it means. Like, no, what does power really mean to you? What does it mean? What does it look like to have genuine power? Because there's a lot of people that have been throwing it around. And you're about to step into a couple of different industries. Like I said, some of you guys are called to politics. Some of you are called to the entertainment industry. Some of you are called to different fields that have had gatekeepers, and the concept of power is about to come up to the surface. And you got to get real clear before you go into any of that and check within. What does power mean to you?